What's going on, noobs? I am the Perpetual Noob, and welcome back to another Hollow Knight Silksong First Win Boss Guide video thingy. Today we're going to be talking about the Raging Conchfly. But before we get to that, did you know I have a Patreon? Because I do! I have a Patreon over at patreon.com/perpetualnoob3. If you'd like to directly support the channel, you can do that over at patreon.com/perpetualnoob3 for just as little as $1 a month. There are some higher tiers, which do add some extra rewards. If you happen to see at the end of this video, there are going to be some credits. That's a higher tier. So if you would like to support the channel directly, please consider going to patreon.com/perpetualnoob3. Thanks. So the Raging Conchfly. Remember how we fought the Cogwork Dancers and we were like, oh man, this is such a different way of handling like the loss of a partner in a partner boss fight, and the fight's really sad, and now I feel terrible for engaging in this fight at all. And typically what you get is the second partner gets all sorts of angry when the first partner's gone, and they get really fast and really powerful. And remember the Grand Conchflies, and we killed just the one of them, and then the fight was over, and we were like, haha, we'll never see that other one, I'm sure, terribly, ever again, haha. Yeah, okay, so now we're here, and now we have the typical response of the second surviving partner in a partner boss fight. And this Raging Conchfly is real damn angry. Oh, yeah. They're moving real quick, they're moving real fast, the attack frequency is higher. This was a tough fight. Not only was it a tough fight for me to adapt to, but it was also at the end of what I found to be a very difficult platforming section in the Sands of Karak. Not least of which because I was continuing to try to make the Beast Crest work, and wow, it really is a struggle to try to make that work in the Sands of Karak, and I actually had to abandon it and go to the Reaper Crest just to get through the platforming sections. And a huge shout out to all of you noobs who are watching me on the Twitch stream try to get through this and hinting at the shortcut, because wow, even the shortcut is still a lot, but it was way less a lot than the platforming section to get there. So the Raging Conchfly does 2 masks of damage. The drill shots do 2 masks of damage because it hits multiple times. There are the little Conchflies that we'll talk about in a moment here. They also hit multiple times, so they will do 2 masks of damage. So everything is doing 2 masks of damage. And the arena is very small. And so small, I didn't even recognize just how small it was until I was watching this footage back and seeing that, like, oh, wow, this is actually really cramped. I didn't quite catch that when I was in the middle of the fight and in the thick of it. It just felt very oppressive, but I didn't really quite understand why. And now I do, because the arena is very tiny. The Raging Conchfly fight involves like 3-ish attacks. There's the drill attack. We saw that with the Grand Conchflies. They will drill into the floor, they'll drill into the ceiling, they'll drill into the wall, and then they'll pop out of the floor, the ceiling, or the wall, and go across the arena in whatever direction they're going. There is the drill shot, where they will kind of like stop and float for a moment, and they'll fire off one of those little drilly things. And they might do that a couple of times in a row. The drills will bounce around the arena at that 45-degree angle. And then in phase 2 is when we start getting all the little Conchflies, and there's a variety of attack patterns that will happen. And they're all signaled, thankfully, by the Raging Conchfly shouting, kind of calling the little ones to them. And one of the patterns is the little Conchflies will drill through the floor and the ceiling and kind of crisscross through the arena, going straight up and down. And then there's 2 that will involve 3 little Conchflies kind of assembling on one side of the arena with the big Conchfly, and they will dart across the arena in 2 different patterns. One of them will involve the big Conchfly following behind them in the horizontal pattern, and then the other one will involve the big Conchfly like drilling into the floor and then popping out of the ceiling or the floor or something. So that's why I say 3-ish attacks, because there's kind of a variety there with the little ones. I've kind of already hinted at it, but this fight again, like kind of ground me down. I went into this fight kind of matching trying, I should say, trying to match the intensity of the Raging Conchfly. Like I was trying to keep pace. I was trying to be really aggressive. I mean, of course, I was also using the Beast Crest, and that is what the Beast Crest wants us to do. But I was trying to, like, be quick, get in as much damage as I could. I was kind of being very reckless in the first, I don't know, 10, 15 attempts. I don't quite know exactly how many attempts it was. It was a lot. There's double digits for sure. And that was just punishing me. That was actually getting me, like, hurt real quick and having the fights end real fast because I was not really allowing the fight to just happen and not really trying to get into the flow of the fight. And it wasn't until I got real late into my attempts that I started to slow down, and I started to be like, okay, well, let's be safe, because early on I was trying to get as much damage as I could, so like when the Conchfly would stop to do the drill shot attack, I would get underneath it because they're like, well, that's the safest way to dodge the drill shot. But then they would drop down to the floor to do a drill, and it would just hit me, and that'd be 2 masks anyway. And all I did was maybe land 2 or maybe 3 hits, which in comparison is nowhere near, I wasn't doing 30% of the Raging Conchfly's health in 2 or 3 hits, yet here they were doing 33% of my health in a single attack. So it was just something that kept getting me in trouble. And I started to see that, like, okay, let me get in the hit when I can. They did a drill attack. Okay, let me pogo onto that, which actually the Beast Crest was very helpful for, because it has that like lateral distance to it. So I was able to like chase the Conchfly down when they would do their drill attack. Eventually I learned we can knock away the drill shots. We can hit them and knock them away. And suddenly, like, the whole fight kind of opened up, because suddenly I didn't have to panic dodge a drill shot. I could just wait until they took their shot and then hit it away, and then I wouldn't have to deal with it again. It made things so much safer. And that's kind of what helped me get through this fight, was just being like, okay, let me get a hit in here. Let me get a hit in here. Let me just knock this attack away. Let me not try to like constantly be on top of this Raging Conchfly and getting damage as quickly and as often as possible. Let me just get it in when I know that I can. And another thing that kind of hinted that the fight that I needed to play this fight a lot slower is that if I dodged the drill attack, that was pretty much always a safe time to activate my binding. And for people who are using the not Beast Crest, a perfect time to heal. And they use the drill attack so often that you're pretty much always going to have an opportunity to heal if you've got the silk available to do so. And so it became, again, at some point I will realize, let's just see how I can turn each fight into a dance. Because once I kind of get into that mode of, oh, here's their step, here's my step, here's their step, here's my step, I do a whole lot better with these fights. It's a wild idea. And I kind of got into that rhythm with the Raging Conchfly. They would drill, I would leap over and pogo into them, or attempt to. Maybe I'd miss. And if I missed, it wasn't a big deal. It was like, all right, I'll get him next time. Drill shot, bat it away. Maybe try to get a counterattack in. But most likely, I would just bat the drill shot away and then just let it go. Wait until they do a drill, or wait until they do a shout to call all their little friends over, because that was another opportunity to get in a whole lot of damage. The fight didn't have to be fast. And that was one of the biggest things for me to realize, is the fight did not have to be fast. Even though the Raging Conchfly was attacking very frequently and was moving very quickly, I did not have to match that. Now granted, Phase 2 is still very chaotic, because there are a lot of projectiles to worry about now that we've got the little Conchflies as well. And so in phase 2, I was using my sting shards to just get me whatever damage I could get in those opportunities when it was like, I can't get close because there are all these little conch flies around as well. But that was pretty much how I did this fight, was slowing down and just getting the hits in when I knew that I was safe enough to do so. And yeah, that was my first win against the Raging Conch Flies. Thank you so much for joining me today, noobs. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought of this fight. Have you even fought this boss? Because I know that they're kind of, they are a, they're an optional boss, well off into a corner in an optional area, or maybe not an optional area, I don't know yet, but they're well off in the corner, very hidden away. And how did it go for you? Were you able to do it in one go, or did it take you many times? Are you still trying to get through this fight? Just let me know. I love talking with you all about this game. It's a good game. If you're watching this video, you've probably already played it. But if you're watching this video and you haven't played it yet, I'd recommend playing some Hollow Knight Silksong if you enjoy challenging platformer Metroidvania style games. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you again, noobs, for being here. I am the Perpetual Noob, and I will see you all next time.